Can you guys all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. All right, guys. Well, you know, as being part of someone on the culture team, you know, culture equals our core values, right? Our 5 core values: relationships, constant improvement, contribution, accountability, and the 5th one is results. Once you've done those first 4, you get to 5, right? So I hope you've all had a chance to check out Build It Through Culture Live every other Thursday on Master Network's Inc. page that Rob and I do. And I'm really excited to get the opportunity to speak with individual chapters about the benefits of culture and how it can help improve your meeting. Like I just said, the culture formula is our core values times behavior. So ask yourself, what does culture mean to you? Right? It might be different than what it means to someone else, but you need to ask yourself that. And being that we are a relationship-based network group, and relationships are the first core value, and how you make others feel is so super important. It's important to me. I hope it's just as important to you. Let's talk about how we make members and visitors feel when they enter the room, when they come into a room. Listen, if you have a party at home and someone knocks on your door, you greet them, and then you bring them into the party and you introduce them to people that they may not know, right? Let's do that same thing here. When people enter the room, regardless of, it's not one person's job, but rather everybody's job, when as people are entering the room, that we all greet them. Hey Zach, hey John, hey Jim, it's great to see you this morning, right? By doing that, you're making everyone feel like they're important, because they are. Everyone in the room is important. There's no one person that's more important than another person. Everybody's important. And we want to make sure that we're doing that. And if you're inviting a guest, make sure to arrive to the meeting early so that you can introduce your visitor visiting the meeting to everyone in the room. And it might even be, I have members, and I think this is a great thing to do, when you're going to have a visitor come, a guest visitor come to check out your meeting, send an email between yourself, the visitor, and your president. So you're giving the president a heads up that a guest visitor is going to be coming. So it makes it a little bit more welcoming to the guest, because as a president myself, I will then reach out and say, hey, looking forward to seeing you Wednesday at 5 o'clock, right? So that helps. And it makes them feel important. Remember, by doing just these few things, you are all controlling the thermostat in the room and making it a warm, inviting place to be. And the warmer and more inviting, so this is the greeting, right? I meant to show this slide. You know, someone comes to your home and then you're involved in the party, you're introducing them. That's important. And like I said, by controlling the thermostat in the room, you're making it a more warm, inviting place to be. And it's going to be a place that others want to be, right? And then make sure that not just whoever invited follows up with that visitor, that guest visitor. You know, other people should be reaching out too. It's not one person's job. Let's all collectively do this together. All righty. Now, which one do you look like? Look at this slide and tell me, do you look like the people on the left? Or do you look like the people on the right? Are you paying attention to what you look like in a meeting? Are you engaged or are you distracted? Are you smiling or are you just barely holding up your head, right? I mean, remember, others are watching. And what you look like on camera can certainly contribute and determine the energy level in the room. Let's all bring some smiling faces. I know it's early. It's 8 o'clock every Tuesday morning, right? But if you're bringing a smiling face and positive energy, you're creating a fun environment, and it keeps the energy flowing. And our culture is to get others talking, right? So how do you do that? Have you had a face-to-face? Ask yourself this question. Have you had a face-to-face with every single member of your chapter? It's important to think about the other person's needs, right? We should be thinking about we don't think about ourselves. It's like, how can I support you? What is it that you need? And how can I make those connections? Can you think of 2 personal things that you've learned about each one of the members in your chapter? Maybe it's their favorite vacation spot, right? Or maybe it's their favorite sports team, or maybe it's just what they like to do in their free time, right? Remember, the B in bond is built on a common interest. So try to think about how you can either connect people by something that they may have in common, or the need of someone else. So for example, after having a face-to-face with Robert, right, and getting to know him better, one of the things that I learned about him was that he collects watches, right? And then I watched Zach do this amazing showcase and share with everyone in the room that he too collects and builds watches. After that showcase, I was like so pumped up and super excited for the conversation after the meeting, because now I knew that the 2 of them had this amazing thing in common, and Robert and Zach were going to be talking about it. And I just wanted to sit back and listen to the conversation, right? That's pretty awesome. And by doing those kinds of things, by getting to know, like, trust, respect each other, but then sharing something in common like that, that could lead to collaboration and even possibly turn into business sooner, because you share a different type of connection now to that person, right? So I wanted to close this out a little bit with a personal experience that I've had, which embodies the culture of Master Networks. Some of you know, some of you don't know. In November of 2019, I broke my back falling off my roof. Okay. And when that happened to me, at the time I was probably in Master Networks. It was less than a year, not, less than a year's time. And the outpouring of love and support that I received from Tina, from my home chapter, and further, not just in my home chapter, it was amazing. Members visited me at the hospital. They visited me at home. Who was sending food, who was bringing flowers, who was just coming to check on me, to spend their lunch hour with me. To be honest with you, my son, who had moved out and he had been living on his own for over a year, came to me a few days after I was home from the hospital, when I was a little bit more coherent and not so doped up. And he was like, "Ma, who are all these people? Like, they were at the hospital. You have these people coming in. Who are these people?" And I said, "Oh, this is part of that networking group that I'm a part of." And he was like, well, isn't that just for work? He goes, they really genuinely care. I said, I know. How beautiful is that? That they do genuinely care. He was even tearing up because he didn't know any of these people. I had never introduced him. And there were people that were calling me to check on me all the time. And he was really touched by that. And he was like, I know you have a lot of friends, but these are all new. Like, I expect certain people to be here, but I don't know these people. They're all willing to pitch in and help out. I had one member who picked me up every week, drove almost 20 minutes out of his way to get me, to bring me to the meeting, to bring me back, to go back. So that's a really important to me. That speaks to our culture and who we are as people. And it's, nobody has to do that. People were giving of themselves. So talk about literally having my back. So when I shared this with my son, I was like, this is where I say, we don't just do business here together, people. We do life here together. And I think that's important for everyone to know. So, hey, have you shared the Master Networks culture? I'm asking you guys that question. Have you shared the Master Networks culture? And maybe one of you can share an experience that you have had in sharing the culture. I really want to thank you all for giving me the time this morning, and I appreciate you listening. Thank you so much.